Good evening. This is News.PH, but it's not politics as usual. I'm Hontiveros. Yesterday, the Supreme Court declared the reproductive health laws, save for a few provisions, constitutional. So tonight we talk to both sides, the anti and the pro-RH. What's next? Our guest tonight in this first segment, Dr. Rinaldo E. Chavez, Ad Hoc Chairman of Doctors for Life, and Anthony James Perez, President of Filipinos for Life. We should also have on the show Attorney Howard Calles, one of the petitioners against the RH law, but I understand he's still on the way. So if he gets here in 10 minutes, he can join us. If
Sure.
not, he can't join us. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's begin, Doctor, with this, very basic question. Where were you when you first heard the news yesterday, and what was the first thought that crossed your mind?
Oh, well, I was in the house watching TV. I was waiting really for the result, the decision of the Supreme Court. And when I heard Attorney Theodore that it was not unconstitutional instead of being constitutional, I said okay, that's okay. And then, of course, the Purple Group were jubilant about it. I said, let's listen first what's in there. And when I listened to the provisions or the unconstitutionality and which one was part of it, I was so glad about it because you know that was really for the Filipinos for Life and Doctors for Life. That was our main issues that we brought up in our petition.
Okay, yung Section 7 and 23 na sinabi nilang unconstitutional.
And especially also 17.
17, sorry.
Yeah, the 17, and then of course the 24, which is penalties of the doctors.
Okay. Anthony, what about you? Where were you yesterday? When
I was in Baguio.
Ah, okay,
Yeah,
right outside the Supreme Court.
I was there. I was filming it with my own cell phone, with my Android phone. I was there.
Sinabi mo talaga Android.
Yeah,
okay.
sorry. I was there. I was outside. I wasn't able to get in, but you know, I could barely hear what he was trying to say. But I was outside. I was trying to listen, and when it was announced, my whole sentiments about it was that I was hoping for the best, but really expecting the worst.
Okay. So is this the worst already, you think?
I'm really pensive about it for now, but we are thankful for little victories, you know, for the provisions that were decided as unconstitutional. That much I am thankful for. But as far as little victories are concerned, there are also opportunities for us to move forward with our advocacy as pro-lifers.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. When you say that you're thankful for the little victories, is that the answer to this question? Or is there any confusion about which side can claim victory? Because yesterday, both sides were claiming victory, no? You're claiming victory in the sense that these certain provisions were declared unconstitutional. The other side is claiming victory also.
Yes, as I've said, we can be thankful for this. Of course, a part of me is still, you know, I cannot claim total victory, apart from the fact that I really wanted most of the provisions to be declared unconstitutional, but that was for the justices to say, not for us. For now, we will have to work on what we are having now, and what has been given to us by the Supreme Court as constitutional and unconstitutional, and we proceed from there.
Okay. When you go through the list of what they declared as unconstitutional, Doctor, like you were saying, can you expound and explain more? No? Why do you say that you're happy, you're glad that these were the sections that were declared unconstitutional?
Well, actually, there were 8 items that were proven unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. In fact, the number one that I wanted was the one with abortion, which only
Which
one.
Which section, Doctor, is that?
I think that is 23. I don't know. I'm not very sure.
Okay.
No, I think 17. I cannot pinpoint on the... But anyway, it's about abortive fashion. And I was so happy because only one justice made it unconstitutional. I mean, made it constitutional, which is Leonen. Sereno, Bernabe, and Reyes, who were always on the other side, were already with the Carpio and Reyes, no? And in fact, even Justice Carpio, I was surprised, no, of his decision, no, not going to the left, no, to the group, no, of being unconstitutional of those provision. But I think I have to mention first here, Ms. Hontiveros, that I don't know, the Supreme Court really, I'm sure, did not really go into all the provision of the law, especially the IRR. In the IRR, there is what we call vaccination, which is not in the law. And that is what I'm afraid. Because
vaccination na pang...
fertility, anti-fertility vaccine.
Okay.
It's not in the law, but it's in the IRR.
Implementing rules and regulations. Okay.
So I don't know why they did not see it. But I'm very sure of that because I was the one who fought against the tetanus toxoid vaccine in 1995 during the time of Flavier.
Okay. Are you saying, Doctor, that you would consider, your groups would consider filing a motion for reconsideration, that you will, because Anthony a while ago was saying, moving forward, no? Yeah. So may MR, there will be an MR.
Yeah, our lawyers just thinking about it because maybe not, because Supreme Court, that's Supreme Court, we have to respect that. No? If you file a motion for reconsideration, that means you don't agree with their decision.
Yes.
But I told him, I said, no, we have to agree because we have to respect the Supreme Court, that is the highest court. Although what I saw with the decision was they were afraid of the legislative. That's why they did not consider it unconstitutional, the whole law. Because,
they're afraid of the legislative, afraid of Congress?
Yeah, they're afraid.
Like what? What do you mean?
They might be...
what? Impeached?
Impeached.
Ganon.
And they cannot impeach the congressman and lawmakers, eh? Only the justices can be impeached. But anyway, that's beside the point. That's only my feeling. But the point is, all laws are considered constitutional. That's right. That's why they made it constitutional.
Yeah. Kaya siya dumaan ng Kongreso, we presume. There's a presumption of regularity.
Yes, but the thing is, there are many things that, Congress did not see what is good for the people. In fact, they said, this is the victory of women and youth. I'm sorry. Women will have a difficult situation here because there will be more sicknesses of the, you understand?
More sicknesses of
side effects.
Side effects.
All the side effects.
Side effects of the contraceptives.
Contraceptives. And it's good that it was mentioned that hopefully that will be removed. The hormonal, the IUD, and the implants, which is all with side effects.
But Doctor, what you're saying is that you don't believe that you should file an MR?
As far as I'm concerned, but we have to discuss it with our group.
Okay, let's ask Anthony for Filipinos for Life. May MR ba?
We would need to discuss that with Attorney Howie. Unfortunately, he's not yet here. I hope he comes now. But in the next few days, we will discuss this with our lawyers, especially our for Filipinos for Life and for Doctors for Life. We got Attorney Howard Calleja. We will discuss this with him. I'm not prepared to make any judgment or any definitive statement on what happened yesterday because I'm not a lawyer, first of all, and second, I would like to to hear it from our legal counsel first on how to proceed from there.
Okay. A while ago, Dr. Chavez mentioned something. He said that the Supreme Court is afraid of the legislative na baka nga ma-impeach yung mga ganon. Did that come up in your discussions, in your considerations?
Well, I think there was certainly pressure from the legislative. That's I think that would be the consensus of many of the pro-lifers. There was indeed some pressure from the legislative to indeed pass the RH law. As far as we are concerned, we pro-lifers, we who oppose the Republic or the reproductive health law, we're supposed to do our job, regardless whether this, there's pressure from the legislative or not, or from other sectors or not, from foreign lobbyists also, if I may add. No,
foreign lobbyists,
yes,
representing what
representing the reproductive pro-RH side. We are aware that there is pressure and funding from foreign lobbyists too. And this unfortunately makes our job more difficult as pro-lifers who promote the sanctity and the beauty of life. But we've been decided on this for quite some time now, the group. Whether RH passes or not, we are going to do our job regardless. But the provisions that were struck down, that made our job a little bit easier, especially with the prohibitions, many of the prohibitions taken down.
Okay. Now that the status quo ante-order is going to be or is about to be lifted, will you take any kind of action? For example, will you block the distribution of contraceptives? Are you going to do something proactive? No? Do you have any plans, Doctor? Pinag-usapan niyo ba yon?
Well,
kasi very imaginative ang mga pro-RH. Baka kasi kayo rin, di ba?
But no, but what maybe we will be doing will be, we will see how they will implement it, including the funding. Because I think that's the most important for them, the funding. Without funding, this law will not go on. But I think the government is already instituting family planning. I mean, there's no need of this law really.
Okay.
But the thing is, they want to make it more, but I'm afraid that abortion might be legal in this country. Because, as...
Why do you say that? Because?
You have the conference just last January, if you will remember. A big conference in PSCC. Discussing abortion and teaching the children how to abort. All their brochures, And I am very sad to see that, and hopefully really our youth will open their eyes that this is not what we are here in this country to develop this country. I mean, it's not abortion or contraceptives.
So, Doctor, yung Doctors for Life will not do anything creative or imaginative to block the implementation of the RH law?
No, because if we block the RH law now, we are against the decision of the Supreme Court. As I said, we have to respect the Supreme Court. And this decision, okay, go ahead. But be sure that the implementation is right, especially on the right to life of the unborn. And of course, we have to protect our doctors being penalized. Because in the provision that were made unconstitutional, there was really very clear that doctors may not inform, may not do information or promote this law.
Okay. Anthony, is your group, the Filipinos for Life, going to do anything? Would you take any kind of action? Apart from the MR.
Of course.
And apart from Twitter and social media. Pero wala kang sinasabi ngayon sa Twitter mula kahapon.
It's actually our members. Personally, I am not very good at Twitter. I prefer Facebook, posting information from my Facebook.
Okay.
It is actually the members of the Filipinos for Life who are active in Twitter.
Okay.
And shout out to them,
Because I checked your Twitter, and then a few days back, nakikipag-away ka sa mga pro-RH.
Yeah, but we've become busy for the preparations for Baguio kasi. And the last time I went online was a few days ago.
Okay.
But last February 14 to be exact, we went around the university belt knowing that there is this culture of giving away condoms on that day. Because people have this thought that people are going to the motels to express their love for and express their love through the sexual act. And so what we did as Filipinos for Life in cooperation with Pro-Life Philippines was to give away candies. We repacked candies. They had messages of chastity and urging the young people especially to keep their chastity and virtue alive and burning, you know. The thing that we want to do at this point as Filipinos for Life, the members, you know, and the officers, we want chastity and modesty to become fashionable again. This is really the best way we can, you know, influence the youth right now, so that we, you know, even if they are into this culture of, they're faced with the culture of contraceptives, of sex education, they will know what is right from wrong, and at least they will know from, you know, they will have this foundation where, you know, they have chastity and modesty in their minds.
Are you saying if they will have sex education and access to contraceptives, that they will not be chaste and that they will not be modest?
Here's the thing. About sex education, we really believe that this is the parents' primary job. You know, and the primary job of the parents is to teach the values. When it comes to sex education, I'd rather have the parents teach it first. You know, because not only because this is the primary job of the parents, and we want our children to get the moral values from our parents themselves. Now, the sex education that will be implemented through the RH law, I'm not sure about it. I heard that there will be conferences or forums where parents will be part of, you know, the making the curriculum, but we have to see, you know. But as for Filipinos for Life, we will always try to promote, and we have always been promoting chastity.
But can you answer the question, if they do have access to contraceptives, and if they do have that those sex education classes in the school curriculum, will that mean that they will not be chaste and that they will not be modest? Because you're saying we want the values of chastity and modesty, and no one's quarreling with that, okay? Pero parang it sounds that way, eh?
Well, here's the thing. It will now depend on the module that will be given. I really sincerely hope that the module that they will be giving to our children, as far as sex education is concerned, first, sana the parents will have, you know, first dibs. The module is created in such a way that the parents will be the primary teachers. Secondary na lang yung mga teachers sa ano. And then we reinforce, we strengthen, we form these parents so that these parents are able to transmit the right information and the right values for sex education. This is a kind of module that will really be helpful to our children, and not just, you know, simply give them instructions on how to have sex, how to have quote-unquote safe and satisfying sex. Yes, this is the thing that we are after. No, values first, sex education is a secondary thing.
Okay, but can you let's go back to my question. I was saying that, you know, are you going to do anything? Will you take any kind of action?
Yes, let me go back to the thing that we did last February 14. That was something very simple.
Tsaka bakit candy nga pala?
You know, Valentine's Day, sweet. No, but we you know, it was sort of a tradition started by the late Father Vic from the Dominicans, who served as the advisor of Pro-Life Philippines. Of course, later on we will give more than candies, but for now we really do not have any funding, so candy na muna.
Okay. So pero hindi kayo, kasi ang iniisip ko, ano kayang gagawin ng mga pro-life? Are they going to block the distribution? Pupunta ba kayo ng mga barangay health center? Pupunta ba kayo ng municipal health center? Harangin nyo ba yung pagbigay ng... Ganun ba, no?
It's still too early.
If we're going to be very graphic about it.
It's still too early to tell. But what I would like to believe is that pro-lifers now will not fight the last war, quote, you know, so to speak.
The last war?
Yeah, you know the expression. We've always been, you know, fighting the last war. Na lagi kaming huli, no? we've always been in the defensive. Now we want to be really more proactive. This is what we will be doing in the next few days and weeks. We will be planning out, mapping out our strategies with the current form of the RH law that was given by the Supreme Court.
Okay, and at this point, you cannot say if there will be an
too early. It's just
too early.
yesterday.
Sayang, wala si Howie eh.
Yeah.
7:20 wala pa siya.
Sorry.
Howie, if you're watching, where are you? Okay, what do you want to hear at Sunday Mass, Dr. Chavez? I'm presuming you are Catholic and that you go to Sunday Mass. Because, you know, people are, one of the first thoughts that crossed many people's minds yesterday, what are the bishops, what are the priests going to say on Sunday Mass?
No, I think they will continue with their advocacy of, you know, sacred days of life. You know? And I don't think they will touch on this anymore.
Oh, hindi na?
Yeah, because the president of CBCP, Archbishop Sok Villegas, said that, you know, we have to move on, like in the movies, you know, like move on, you know, and go back to our advocacy on going to the poor. You know.
Okay, but my question, Doctor, is what do you want to hear?
No,
you don't want to hear anything anymore?
No more.
Huwag na natin pag-usapan.
It's enough. You know. Let's just wait, simmer down, and let's wait what will happen, how the government will implement this law now that it is being, we call it ligated. You know.
Ligated, okay. Are you hoping na magkabulilyaso sa implementation or,
let's see. You know. Let's hope that, you know, everything will be all right, especially on the funding, because we will be watching on the funding, really, you know, where they are going to put. Is it on the services? Is it on the clinics? Is it to protect the mothers or the infants? And this is what we are going to.
Where do you want to see the funding go? Where exactly do you want to see the funding go?
Of course, to the services.
The services.
Yeah, especially prenatal, postnatal. All these things must be very clear to us how this will be implemented, because this is very important. This is the only reason that we have maybe high mortality rate, because we have no services, especially in the rural areas. So we are telling our doctors now that there is no pro bono now, because it's unconstitutional. Everybody will be paid if you make your service to your patients. And you will be penalized if you don't want to give contraceptives to a patient who will be asking from our doctors. That's good enough for us. Because before, in the old provision, we are forced to inform. You know, it's coercion to us in the old way. Now that it's removed, at least we are happy about it for the doctors.
For the doctors, you won't have to inform your patients anymore.
Yeah. if they want, they can go to some other doctors.
Okay. Kasi labag sa kalooban yun.
Correct.
Diba? Ayaw nyo namang pinipilit, napipilitan kayo.
Yeah, hindi naman pinipilit na ngayon. According to the law, we are not forced to do it anymore.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Anthony, the question is, what do you want to hear at Sunday Mass?
I want our pastors to, our bishops and our priests to, you know, keep saying the message of life. We've been hearing rumors, I don't know, fueled by the media, or I'm not sure. I'm fresh from Baguio now. We've been hearing rumors that the church has gone soft on, you know, on the issue of RH. I would like to think that this is, I'm not sure, I haven't read it, no, but I would like to think this is not the case. But whether this is the case or not, the lay, you know, the lay block of the church, you know, the church is comprised of the clergy and the laity. The laity have, you know, will always be active on this, since I think this is a new phase in the fight against RH. I mean, since RH is already there, I've been telling people this. This is a new phase where we as laity should take the lead and not anymore rely on our bishops. I'm not saying that the bishops are not necessary anymore. But
you said they've gone soft,
no,
according
that's
to the rumors.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to believe that this is a new phase on the pro-life movement in the Philippines, where the lay will lead the way and the clergy will help us. It's not like those times, and I'm saying it's a bad time, it's a bad tactic. where you would remember the late Cardinal Sin would always call for rallies, etc., etc. But now I think this is a new time for us, for the lay to take lead.
So it's not like you're going to be waiting for something to be said from the pulpit.
Exactly.
You will
We
just
will take the
conduct
lead.
guerrilla warfare.
Not necessarily, no, but that would be a good start. But the point here is that we need to professionalize and to expand and to improve our the pro-life movement as a whole. If it's necessary that the pro-life leaders from the lay would take the lead, then that's the way to do it, I think, in my opinion.
The year of the laity.
Yes.
This
Year
year
of the
is
laity.
year of the laity.
Yeah. Wait. So a while ago you said you want to hear, you still want to hear the pro-life
Of course.
message from priests and
priests,
the
yes.
bishops. No. So do you want to hear them on Sunday when you go to mass on Sunday? Do you want to hear them lambast the RH law or? The
Not
RH
necessarily
pro-RH
lambast.
priest?
Not necessarily.
What?
I won't
What nga?
put it
What?
that way.
Medyo kutyainan ko,
I
ganon.
would like them to preach the gospel in season and out of season, and that means to proclaim the gospel of life too. If they need to say that some politicians have gone wrong, have done wrong, then if that's necessary, so be it. But I would not like. I would really like them to still push the message of life in their homilies, in their talks.
Okay.
Yeah, because they need to be our inspiration too. Because the laity are working very hard and are sacrificing so much in order to advance the pro-life cause.
Yeah. So we're not sure that we will hear anything from the CBCP if, as you said, the rumors are true that the church
I
is
think that's just an interpretation.
Interpretation.
Yeah, I think that's an interpretation, but it's an interpretation that's bound to happen because there's so many people. They go online, they have their own opinions.
Yeah. In the run-up to this, and while the deliberations were going on in Congress, there was this oratio imperata, di ba?
Yeah.
So we won't have that anymore on Sunday.
The oratio imperata is this oratio imperata against the RH bill, but there's also an oratio imperata that's for life, for respect for human life. I think that will continue.
Okay. Final words, Anthony, and then Dr. Chavez.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a very challenging moment, and very challenging phase for Filipinos and especially Catholics. But we will continue our work towards respecting life, family, and marriage. We will. There are setbacks, of course, but the current victories afforded to us by the Supreme Court, we will take advantage of them, and rest assured that we will always be working for the promotion of life, family, and marriage, especially for the poor people.
Okay, thank you, Anthony. Dr. Chavez?
Well, yeah, the Doctors for Life will continue for the culture of life, against the culture of death. Culture of death is divorce. We will not agree with that. E will be euthanasia. We will not agree with that. A is abortion. We will not agree with that. And T, which is total fertility control.
Okay.
Which
I
is
thought
one
that
half.
was taxes.
No, which
Okay.
is one half,
Yeah.
not total now.
Okay.
And then we have the homosexual
Agenda.
same-sex marriage.
Yeah.
So we will be against that. All throughout. If Congress will have that, we will be against it.
Okay.
That is for the Doctors of Life.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you.
Chavez and Anthony. Maraming salamat. Thank you for being here. We're taking a short break. News.PH will be right back. Stay with us.
Okay, tapos na tayo.
Okay.
Yes, sandali lang po. Welcome back. You're still watching News.PH on the Solar News channel. I'm Pia Hontiveros. In this second half of the show, we talk to RH law advocates. Our guests, Dr. Esperanza Cabral, former health secretary, Risa Hontiveros, former representative of the Akbayan party list, and Emeline Versosa, executive director, Philippine Commission on Women. Good evening.
Good evening. Good
Thank you very
evening,
much. You're all beaming and so happy. Parang ibang-iba sa atmosphere kanina.
You can tell who won the gold medal.
Kayo ba yun?
Parang, no?
Parang ano. You know, I ended with a question sa kanilang dalawa kanina, kina Dr. Chavez and Anthony. What do you want to hear at Sunday Mass? I'll start with that question sa inyo, no? Are you prepared for what the priests will say at Sunday Mass? And I'm presuming you're all, of course you're Catholic priest, but I'm presuming you're all Catholic and that you still attend Sunday Mass. So, Ma'am Versosa, what do you, are you prepared for what the priests may say at Sunday Mass?
Well, I'm hoping they won't say anything.
Okay. Risa?
Well, the kids and I are lucky we found a parish church where even sa kainit-inita ng RH law struggle, we didn't suffer anti-RH homilies or prayers of the faithful or videos after communion. So sana...
Where was that? What church
Church of the Jesuit.
No. Yung anti-RH.
Some other churches.
Which churches
many
were those?
colleagues mentioned that. Well, here in Metro Manila as well as in different provincial cities especially. So sana this Sunday, if they will mention it, at best they will echo what I think was a good message from CBCP President Archbishop Villegas, that what we have been saying from the beginning, there are so many other issues on which we can unite. And if I read the story correctly, he said something to the effect like, let's move on. So I hope it reflects a beginning acceptance on the part of the Catholic hierarchy that, as Sec SP said, we won the gold medal.
Okay, wait, Church of the Jesuit, Ateneo de Manila, of course. Secretary Cabral, are you prepared for what the priests will say at Sunday Mass?
Yes, I've been prepared for whatever they say for the past many years.
For the past many years?
Yes.
So, a few more years pa?
Probably not. I think they will take the lead from the people who have already spoken and respect the decision of the Supreme Court and move on. And perhaps, and this is something that I wish for, we could work together on things that are important, that we agree on, even as we disagree on certain things like the RH law.
Okay, you can work together. What do you mean by that? Like which particular issues, which particular provisions, etc. Are you talking about?
Maybe not in the RH law, but in other problems that are facing our country, such as poverty, such as in social inequity and things like those.
Even the ecology.
But even in the RH law, it says you can promote natural family planning and artificial contraceptives, so they can promote natural family planning, and then
you guys will take care of the
Both.
Yes. Actually, yeah. So
okay. Where were you? Well, Risa, you were in Baguio, ma'am.
I was
Ma'am
also
Gatsby, you were
there.
also in Baguio.
I was in the Senate.
You were in the Senate.
Senator Pia Cayetano was going to have a hearing on marital infidelity, and then she suspended the hearing for a while so that she could monitor the proceedings.
Okay.
So we were all there happy to.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the first thought that crossed your mind when you heard the news?
Well, ecstatic, happy.
Okay.
Yeah, but then we weren't sure yet. We didn't know because we didn't have access to the news at
But when
that
you
time.
heard that, okay, there were these 8 provisions that were declared unconstitutional, ano naman yung pumasok sa isip niyo?
Well, generally kasi the core the core
Intact.
message was intact. Yes, so it was okay that you limit only to the public, and then it's respect for religious beliefs.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, Risa, you were there in Baguio, like we said.
Yes.
What is the first thought? And you can keep it brief na lang.
Well,
We've been hearing you talk since yesterday.
Sorry.
You're forgiven.
Thank you. Well, while we were waiting for SC spokesman Teddy Te to speak, part of the feeling was, come on, sige na, sabihin mo na. But when we finally heard what we were hoping to hear, well, as Emeline said, just joy, unadulterated joy.
Okay. And then Sec SB, like you said, you feel like you won the gold medal.
Right, yes.
Olympic gold, no?
Yes. It was a very emotional moment for the pro-RH group, the Purple Ribbon for RH, because we have been fighting to have this law upheld over the last year and 3 weeks. So we were very relieved and very happy.
Okay. Can we go through very briefly, very quickly, these 8 items no, that were declared unconstitutional?
It's not the whole 8 sections, by the way. Just
Yes,
one
yes.
part of them.
One what do you call that, one item or whatever, Section 7 and 7 of Section 23.
Right.
Kahapon, ang parang binobroadcast niyong message is that, oh, we can do without it anyway. So okay lang. Is that correct, Secretary
Yes,
Cabral?
we can live without the provisions that the Supreme Court struck down. Section 7 refers to the private health facilities, particularly those owned by religious groups. And the Supreme Court said that we cannot force them to provide reproductive health services if they do not want to. On the
So
other
it's
hand,
respect for others'
yes,
beliefs.
right.
Okay.
So we can live with that. Section 23 is really about penalties for health professionals. And being a health professional myself, I'm happy that there will be no punishment. But on the other hand, I think that majority of health professionals also subscribe to the reproductive health law, and even without a law, they are going to provide reproductive health services, even if they're Catholic or even if they're not. And I always rely on the oaths of service that we take, as well as the code of ethics that we follow, to put the best interest of our patients over everything else.
Even religion.
Correct.
Okay. Well, a while ago, Dr. Chavez was saying that he's glad, no, na wala ng penalties because parang labag masyado sa kalooban.
Yes.
Kung pipilitin pa siya kung ayaw niya.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And you have no quarrel with that. I mean, you have no problem with that, no, Risa and
Well,
Emily?
the parts of the 8 provisions that were struck down seem to have to do with, as SB was saying, religious affiliation or beliefs, the parental consent,
Yeah.
consent of the spouse, conscientious objection, which, as she was saying, in current medical practice and in the law itself are already recognized and protected. So we are celebrating that while we study what possible proper steps we may take para habulin pa yung mga yon. But we're very happy that the heart of the law is alive and kicking.
Yeah.
What have to do with the mandate of government to distribute family planning supplies, the Philippine National Drug Formulary, which will include what are the legal, safe, non-abortive, fashion-effective family planning supplies to be approved by the Food and Drug Administration. Very importantly, the age and development appropriate RH education, the mandate for DOH to procure and distribute supplies through the local government units and the role of the LGUs, and the popular awareness and nationwide multimedia campaign on RH. And Rep. Ed Selagman, our principal author in the 14th Congress, is celebrating with us, reminding us that these, which were upheld as constitutional, are the strongest, and they're at the heart of the program now.
Okay. So is there still going to be an MR to ask that the Supreme Court upholds or deems constitutional those that they already said are unconstitutional? Hahabulin niyo pa ba yun?
We don't have the final word on that yet because the authors have not met. But in talking to them individually, I think that they say that sapat na ang RH law and that they will not file for a motion for reconsideration to reconsider the provisions that were declared unconstitutional.
Okay.
There are other remedies like executive action on the implementing rules and regulations or future amendment by Congress. So it isn't just MR that we could do. So.
Okay. So pwedeng idaan sa IRR? Pwedeng baguhin? Is there something that you can put in the IRR that was not originally in the law?
Actually,
No,
Like for
we cannot
example,
do that.
sabi ni Dr. Chavez, yung vaccination halimbawa, nasa IRR, wala daw sa law, etc.
Yeah, well, I think that vaccination is a universally accepted practice. It is not something that the RH law or the Supreme Court has any quarrel about. That's why they did not strike it down. What they struck down was a word,
yes.
primarily abortifacient, primarily
the definition of abortifacient.
yes,
They
right,
removed
right. That's the
primary.
only thing because it violated the RH law.
Okay. Now that there's going the status quo anti-order lifted, what are we going to see? When we talk about, okay, we're going to implement the RH law, what exactly are people going to see? Ma'am?
Well, our part, the PCW is an oversight agency for government agencies. So we'd like to work with DOH to make sure that the RH will really be implemented. Aside from RH, there's Magna Carta of Women. So talagang these are state obligations kasi. These are translations of international human rights treaties like CEDAW. So what we would like to see is really full implementation up to the local government unit level.
And full implementation means what?
Budgets.
You have LGUs and
Maybe budgets should be allocated.
barangay health centers distributing contraceptives.
Yes.
What?
To the
But-
willing receptors.
Offering ligation, etc.
Yes, with the proper information on all the side effects and what is good for the person. So it's not forcing them on, but really providing choices for the women.
Especially the indigent who may choose those methods but can't afford them, don't have real access.
Okay. What else will we see from your camp in the next few days?
I think a lot of the work is just starting. And primarily, we will be very willing to help the Department of Health, which is the lead agency for the implementation of the RH law, in implementation, but mostly for monitoring and making sure that they are actually implementing the law effectively.
Okay. Okay. Let's talk about what is going to happen next, apart from implementation, working with the Department of Health because they're the implementing agency. What else are we going to see in the next 2-3 years? Because the anti-RH groups, of course, they say so many things are going to happen. A while ago, sabi nga ni Dr. Chavez, ang susunod doon, divorce, abortion, etc. Maraming mga scenarios, no, that they are talking about.
He's probably right, because now actually there have been divorce bills filed in Congress already. Each of these will be tackled by Congress and will be decided upon in accordance with their best lights. I think that as far as divorce is concerned, they're going to be discussing that in this Congress. I am sure that the abortion issue is a non-issue. It is in our Constitution. It says that we cannot perform abortions in the Philippines except in very, very particular instances. And then, as far as homosexuality is concerned, because that's part of his death thing.
Homosexual, same-sex marriage.
That is a conversation that is going on worldwide.
Yes.
And nearly everybody in the progressive world, in the developed world, agree that no matter what your sexual orientation is, you are a human being and entitled to human rights.
Okay.
But here in the Philippines, even the LGBT community are not yet talking about same-sex marriage specifically. They're saying they're working on an anti-discrimination bill, and they want to pass it into law, and they're saying, not yet same-sex marriage, maybe somewhere down the road we'll talk about that. Now it suffices to talk maybe about, civil unions? There's a certain term that same-sex couples have the same rights and recognized rights and responsibilities as heterosexual couples. As SEC-SP said, there are at least 2 bills on divorce in Congress, but one is pro-divorce, one is actually anti-divorce. And so that will be an interesting and I think necessary public discussion centered around our Congress.
Now, in terms of divorce, we're not really pushing for it as yet. What we want to do is really more conversations among stakeholders before pushing it in Congress, because we heard the President say that he wasn't going to sign anything like that. So it's not among our priority. But we do support the anti-discrimination bill. And we've been proposing language in international documents to recognize sexual orientation and gender identity, because they're human beings, the LGBT community, and they have rights, and they suffer from a lot of discrimination at work, in public spaces, also violence against them, in schools, bullying. So these things have to stop.
Of course, one other thing that will happen just around our age is the education of our children, young people, through DepEd, working on the modules, training their teachers, getting the buy-in of the parents and PTAs.
But what do you say to, earlier Anthony was saying that dapat ang parents daw may first dibs, the parents should be the first teachers of sex education, which is
We agree.
Dapat lang, ano?
Yes, that's the ideal. But
surveys,
the reality is, my parents did teach me, and they were doctors, professions. I learned my sex education in school, in my Catholic school.
What Catholic
So I think
school?
St. Teresa's.
St. Teresa. Okay.
So I think it should work both ways. And you see children, sometimes they don't talk to the parents, and parents don't know how to rear their children. So what we're promoting really is for parents. For example, in the Pantawid Pamilya, there are family development sessions where mothers and parents are taught all these things, how to handle their children. That's good, and I think that should continue. But not all families have that kind of relationship with their teenagers and their parents.
In fact, surveys show that most Filipino parents aren't willing or able to talk about sexuality and sex and RH with their kids. So rather than that, our children learn about these important matters from their peers who may know as little or as wrongly about them, or rather than they learn from, no offense meant, mass media, but without a concerned adult supervising, then let the teachers and the schools be the partners of the parents and the home in helping young people to learn about this very important fact of life.
Okay. Earlier also, Anthony was saying that what they want is to promote, moving forward now, to promote chastity and modesty. You have no quarrel with that, right?
Oh, I agree with that too.
Yeah.
But as Emeline was saying, the reality is many young people actually engage in sexual activity. So we might as well teach them sexual responsibility.
Okay.
In fact, the range of those teachings about sexual responsibility are A, B, C, and the A is still abstinence.
Abstinence.
Yeah, we tell young people, focus on school, preparing for work and family life,
Save it for marriage, diba?
Yes, rather than early onset of sexual relations. But because the SecSP said the reality is something different, if you're already sexually active, you say B, be monogamous, not multiple partners, and C, use contraceptives, including condoms. So to avoid teenage pregnancy, teenage abortion, teenage STDs,
Which is actually on the rise. I was reviewing the young adult fertility survey recently, 2013. It doubled. The number of teenage pregnancies doubled from a decade ago.
The rate doubled.
The rate doubled.
Okay. Part of the discussion, the very long discussion that took forever on the RH law was that some people were saying, I don't want my taxes to go to contraceptives for poor people. Now that the RH law will be implemented, how do you address that issue?
Well, taxes are an obligation of every citizen, and in fact, if we're to be fair, the poor pay a greater proportion of the national taxes than we middle class or the rich put together. And then those taxes benefit every citizen equally in terms of the public services that government provides. So what is so wrong, and we think it's a very good thing, that a public good like reproductive health, health in general, and RH as part of that should also be funded by those government revenues.
When was the status quo anti-order? A year, was it a year?
Yeah, March 18.
March 18.
2013.
So 1 year and
A few days.
Few weeks.
a few weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you feel that that was wasted time, or parang nasayang yung oras ninyo, or no?
Yes. In those 1 year and a few weeks, more than 5,000 maternal mortalities had occurred. And if the RH law had been implemented last year, a significant number of those maternal deaths could have been prevented. I'm not saying all of them could have been prevented, but a significant number of them could have been prevented. In that 1 year, there were more than 1.5 million unintended pregnancies. And if we had the reproductive health law, some of those, a significant number of them, could also have been prevented. And therefore, the induced abortion that comes from unintended pregnancy could have been prevented, and deaths of mothers and children could have been prevented.
Where did the 1.5 million figure come from, ma'am?
Those are estimates that we make from the number of pregnancies as well as the number of births that we observe. We actually observe more than 3.5 million pregnancies every year, but there are only something like 2.3 million births. So we know that somewhere these pregnancies got lost.
Okay. Are we going to see something dramatic in the next few years? When I say dramatic, I mean, for example, you know, one of the favorite stories of the media, both local and international, is the Fabella Hospital and how it is a baby factory. And you have 4 babies and 4 newborn babies and their mothers in one bed, no? And I mean, it's like a long line in the delivery. Sometimes they can't even deliver in the delivery room, etc. Are we going to see something dramatic in the sense that there will be less of that in the next few years because of the RH law? Is that what we're going to see?
We hope that there is going to be something like that. But if something like that happens, it is not going to be just because people are no longer getting pregnant, but because we are providing better services. There are more hospitals, more birthing facilities, so Fabella is not overcrowded as it is now.
Okay.
And that's also part of the RH law.
And of course, RH law for us is definitely, you know, in our hearts, in our souls, a gender law. It's also a health law. And so we see it as in that tradition of quality affordable medicines law, RH law, looking forward to setting up the universal healthcare system. So we're really hoping that from birth till we die, that progressively we can set up in our country a health system that is really responsive and empowering to the citizens, to the patients.
Okay, last 5 minutes of the show. I'll give that all to you so that you can make your final statement. So, Ma'am Versosa.
Well, with the RH law, we hope that all this battle between two sides get stopped already. We hope that we can all work together and stop this, that we're not pro-life, and the only ones pro-life. We are all pro-life. We are all for quality of life. So I hope that would end, and that we can all, as I said early in the beginning, we can all work together for the benefit of the women who suffer from all these unwanted pregnancies, and the young especially, who are not getting the right information. They only get it from the computers and the internet and in the internet. So I think we should all work together to have proper sexuality education, especially for the young.
Okay, Lisa?
We warmly, ecstatically welcome this ruling of the Supreme Court. We congratulate all our kababayan who fought so long and so hard for this. We thank again President Noy, the Congress of the Republic, and now the Supreme Court for supporting us. At the same time, we remind ourselves not to be complacent, that there may still be obstacles towards the full and proper implementation of the program. But now is really a time for compassion and understanding, for us to begin to, if slowly, to blur the lines that we had to draw in the last many years. We look forward to this, or to this ceasefire that Emeline was talking about, because we still believe everybody on one side and the other have same dream of a better, more humane society. So let's give RH a chance to succeed.
What obstacles? Like, what are you?
It could be that the oppositors to the law, some of them, may still try to create difficulties for the implementation. This is not unique to the RH law. It could be for any law. So it's in the same vein as SecSP was saying. We have to remain committed to seeing that this program is actually
difficulties implemented. Like what? Like I was asking them earlier, like, are you planning to block distribution of contraceptives? Yung mga hindi naman daw ganon.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
So what difficulties are you considering that they may?
Well, since it was such a long and hard and sometimes ugly battle, that's still in the realm of the possible. But over and above that, even above the need for vigilance, we believe the need for compassion and understanding.
Okay, Secretary Cabral?
I look at the RH law as a matter of rights of women, families, even men, to determine for themselves what kind of family and when they will have it, and the obligation of government to help the poor achieve their desires as far as family is concerned. So I'm very thankful to the Supreme Court for upholding the constitutionality of the RH law. And now we can move on and, as I was saying, work together in order to make sure that it is implemented properly.
All right, thank you very much for joining us, Emeline Versosa, Risa Hontiveros, and Secretary SP Cabral. Maraming salamat. And thank you for watching. I'm Pia Hontiveros. This is News.PH. See you again next Wednesday. Good night. Good evening. This is News.PH, but it's not politics as usual. I'm Hontiveros. Yesterday, the Supreme Court declared the reproductive health laws, save for a few provisions, constitutional. So tonight we talk to both sides, the anti and the pro-RH. What's next? Our guest tonight in this first segment, Dr. Rinaldo Chavez, Ad hoc Chairman of Doctors for Life, and Anthony James Perez, President of Filipinos for Life. We should also have on the show Attorney Howard Calles, one of the petitioners against the RH law.
Supreme Court. In fact, the number one that I wanted was the one with abortion. No? Which only
Which
one.
Which section, doctor, is that?
I think that is 23. I don't know, I'm not very sure.
Okay.
No, I think 17, I cannot pinpoint out the, but anyway, it's about abortive fashion. And I was so happy because only one justice made it unconstitutional. I mean, made it constitutional, which is Leonen. Sereno, Bernabe, and Reyes, who were always on the other side, were already with the Carpio and Reyes, no? And in fact, even Justice Carpio, I was surprised, no, of his decision, no, not going to the left, no, to the group, no, of being unconstitutional of those provisions. But I think I have to mention first here, Ms. Hontiveros, that I don't know, the Supreme Court really, I'm sure, did not really go into which is penalties of the doctors.
Okay. Anthony, what about you? Where were you yesterday? When
I was in Baguio.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
right outside the Supreme Court.
I was there. I was filming it with my own cell phone, with my Android phone. I was there.
Sinabi mo talaga Android.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry. I was there. I was outside. I wasn't able to get in, but you know, I could barely hear what he was trying to say, but I was outside, I was trying to listen, and when it was announced, my whole sentiments about it was that I was hoping for the best, but really expecting the worst.
Okay. So is this the worst already, you think?
I'm really pensive about it for now, but we are thankful for little victories, you know, for the provisions that were decided as unconstitutional. That much I am thankful for. But as far as little victories are concerned, there are also opportunities for us to move forward with our advocacy as pro-lifers.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. When you say that you're thankful for the little victories, is that all? But I understand he's still on the way. So if he gets here in 10 minutes, he can join us. If not, he can't join us. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's begin, Doctor, with this, well, very basic question. Where were you when you first heard the news yesterday, and what was the first thought that crossed your mind?
Oh, well, I was in the house watching TV. I was waiting really for the result, the decision of the Supreme Court. And when I heard Attorney Theodore that it was not unconstitutional instead of being constitutional, I said okay, that's okay. And then, of course, the Purple Group were jubilant about it. I said, let's listen first what's in there. And when I listened to the provisions or the unconstitutionality and which one was part of it, I was so glad about it because you know, that was really for the Filipinos for Life and Doctors for Life. That was our main issues that we brought up in our petition.
Okay, yung Section 7 and 23 na sinabi nilang unconstitutional.
And especially also 17.
17, sorry.
Yeah, the 17, and then of course the 24. No?
The answer to this question, is there any confusion about which side can claim victory? Because yesterday both sides were claiming victory, no? You're claiming victory in the sense that these certain provisions were declared unconstitutional. The other side is claiming victory also.
Yes, as I've said, we can be thankful for this. Of course, a part of me is still, I cannot claim total victory. Apart from the fact that I really wanted most of the provisions to be declared unconstitutional, but that was for the justices to say, not for us. For now, we will have to work on what we are having now, on what has been given to us by the Supreme Court as constitutional and unconstitutional. And we proceed from there.
Okay. When you go through the list of what they declared as unconstitutional, Doctor, like you were saying, can you expound and explain more? No? Why do you say that you're happy, you're glad that these were the sections that were declared unconstitutional?
Well, actually, there were 8 items that were proven unconstitutional by